Welcome to Joy in the City True Stories Edition. I'm Bethany Marshall, and you are about to see what God is doing in our city. Coming up, we'll hear from a husband and wife team who have become father and mother to a community of students. A man destined for failure in his community became an overcomer. Another look at tough questions. All that and more coming up now on Joy in the City True Stories.
God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move in many mighty ways. God is on the move, hallelujah. God is on the move today.
Our feature story today is a program right here in the heart of Bellwood, Pennsylvania. This is more than a program. It's a safe place developed for at-risk youth. Many churches in the area have ministries for teens a few nights a week, but The Door is an outreach-based after-school program open daily. Hear from Dave Taylor, the director of the ministry.
The Door was started as a place to get kids off the street after school. We're right near a major corner in our town and walking distance of the school, and right outside our building was a place where there might be as many as 40 kids a day congregating and getting into trouble. People drive by, they saw smoking, they saw kids doing stuff here and swearing, antisocial things, and they were concerned. And the founder of the ministry, George Palmer, saw them driving by, and instead of just being mad at them, said, we need to find out, why are these kids on a corner? Why aren't they at home? What's going on? And digging deeper, found out home's not always the best place to be after school. Sometimes nobody's home. Sometimes the streets are safer than home. It depended. Each kid's story was different, but they all had one thing in common. They needed a place. They needed a place to be. Really, I'm a home runner here. I'm the lawnmower. I'm the dishwasher. I'm the guy who makes dinner. I'm the guy who sees that if the toilet's clogged, they call me and I go clean up and fix the computers. And so from maintenance to janitorial to having a vision where we have an empty yard, what can we put here? We need space for kids. Two things I wanted. I wanted a place for kids to play, because there weren't a lot of places back in the time that we started. There was no public basketball court when we got ours. There was no beach volleyball court when we got ours, and a place to play for the kids that didn't cost money, because kids who have money always have a place to go. Kids who don't have money make do, and I wanted them to, why can't they have the best? God loves them. And so we made a place of play here, and we also made a place of peace, because I know from my own childhood, and for many of the kids here, their days just need to get out. And you don't want to have to explain to anybody why you need out. You just need out. And you need a place of peace. You need a place where somebody cares about you, where eventually, if you trust them, you'll open up and talk about it. But kids don't need to explain why they're here. They can just be. And for a lot of kids, there are some rough situations we've had to help get kids removed from their home and things over the years. But for a lot of kids, it's not quite that bad. But there are bad days, there are bad moments, there's bad weeks. Mom and dad are fighting, there's a divorce, there's whatever. Mom's boyfriend is abusive, and I just need a place. I need a place to just go and hang out and be. And I wanted this to be that place. That we are to take care of the fatherless kids. And in our country today, we have reached a record number. 24 million children do not have their father in their life. 24 million. That's just America. That is the root of our problems in our country. That's the drug problem. That's the crime problem. That's the unwed mother problem. That's the violence problem. That's the kids dropping out of school problem. That's the people on welfare and all of those things. If you go and you study and you look, it is tied to a fatherless epidemic. So many ministries focus on salvation and heaven, and pardon me, but they forget about the hell that some young people live in today, here right now. And so that's a ministry that God commands. It's very close to his heart. I can't tell you how many times God talks about the fatherless in Scripture. Psalm 68 is probably the my life verse that says, God is the father of the fatherless, and he sets the solitary in families. And that's what we try to do here. God really has wants us to model servanthood. I think that's what a father should be modeling, that he serves his family, that he sacrifices for them, that he loves them, and he gives back to them, and is a strong man for them to, if there's correction needed, but a strong man for them to hide behind if they need safety, if they need shelter, if they need encouragement. And so that's what God's called me to be here. I'm dad at the door. That would, if somebody asked my title, I'm executive director, whatever that means. I don't have anybody under me. But I think the title, all the kids call Angela Mama G. That was something that came on very early. Knowing what to call me, knowing what to do with me. One of the reasons I cook is all the kids were talking to my wife, and I was out here and she was in the kitchen, and we had to swap one day because she couldn't get dinner done. All the kids wanted to talk to her, and I thought, well, I'm the trained professional counselor here. Why aren't they talking to me? And then it dawned on me after I did some studies with the kids. Most of these kids don't have a father to talk to, or one that talks to them. They don't know what to do with me. And that takes a while to figure that out. Most of them know what to do with a mama, because most of them have one, and my wife's great at that. So I picked up the apron and said, well, I'll cook, you talk to the kids. And over the years, we built bridges back the other way, and I kind of stayed the cook. She cooks at camp, and I cook here.
Cool.
Okay. The handprints on the wall are from a kid who's been coming here a while, and they make this a regular part of their life. There comes a day when we invite them to put their hand up, or they ask, can I put my hand up? And it's kind of a sign that you belong, that you are a part of our family, and we promise to never wash those handprints off. I do a lot of cleaning up. Those handprints stay. And we have kids, it's been 14 years I've been here. I got grandchildren from the ministry of kids who bring their kids back here, and they show them, that's daddy's handprint, that's your mom's handprint. We run the same hours year round, but every day at 3 o'clock, I show up a little bit early if I can, and we post on the chalkboard what we're having for dinner, because that's first question. What are we eating? The ministry centers around the dinner table. I mean, we have lots of other nice things, but it is, when can we have snacks out every day for the kids, and we serve a sit-down meal every night, and so they see what's on dinner, they see what announcements are. Do we have something coming up, an activity? Do we close at a certain day for whatever reason? They hang up their coats and they hang out. Usually it's a race to see who can get to the video game room first and get the controller, because the kids love the video games or the computers in the computer room. Got to check my Facebook. We have a lot of kids who nowadays don't have access to technology, don't have access to the internet, don't have access to social media and stuff. This is their place they come, because I got free Wi-Fi at the door. I have kids who have cell phones who have no minute plan, no programming, but they can come here and use the Wi-Fi, and they get to be normal in that sense. They want to be like the other kids. The other kids have Facebook. The other kids, I was one of those poor kids. I'd have never had a cell phone, you know what I mean? And a place like this where I got a touchscreen computer. I can do my homework here just like all the other kids. I can print my study stuff, and it doesn't cost me anything. We have those things here. So they do that. They hang out. A lot of them run out and shoot hoops on the basketball court. They've been sitting for 8 hours a day. So for the athletic kids, they can play ball and play hard here, or the beach volleyball courts out there. There are other kids who just come to shoot pool and play video games, and we have an arcade for them. And they're just everywhere. There's an arts and crafts room where kids can go up, and we have every art supply you can imagine. And there's a lot of kids who art is therapy for them. It's their peace. It's their place where they can express themselves in ways that maybe they can't with words. And they can come here and do that kind of stuff. And some kids just hang out and want to watch TV or whatever else with us, and we have movie nights for the kids certain nights of the week, and we break out the popcorn popper and we sit around and watch a movie together. And impact, yeah, we've saved kids' lives. I've had kids who have taken an overdose of pills and showed up on my doorstep, changed their mind, want to live, and we've had to help them and call parents. We've had kids who've come here with drug problems, kids who've come here with every mental health issue you can imagine and every medication you could be on, and seen counselors and therapists, but here they find peace. And I think it's because the Spirit of God is here. It's not just a fun place. It's not just a place to get a good bite. That may get you in the door. But what makes you stay is there's something untangible here that you can't quite put your finger on. That most of the kids call it family. It just feels right here. Why are we making a difference in our community? We've moved drugs off Main Street. I'm not saying it's not here, but they're not selling on the street corner right in front of this building like they did 14 years ago. Like when I first got here, I fought with drug dealers who would vandalize, who robbed this place, who threatened my kids, who robbed my house, all right, smashed windows, vandalized my vehicles. We fought that fight, and they couldn't run us out of town. They're still here somewhere, but I don't have open dealers on the streets in our community. Kids who have been suicidal have been helped. Kids with drug issues, if they come here, they get help. It's the ones that don't make it here that I worry about, and they're being missed by. When I say this, it's not condemning. They're just being missed by our average church program, and we can't miss them. We can't afford to, as a society. We can't afford to as the kingdom of God. We got to reach them, whatever it takes. And if it takes, I've had people say, that kid just came in here, grabbed a candy bar and left. They don't care anything about you or this place. I said, yeah, that might happen for a full year before they sit down and stay. But there will come a day when they will sit down and stay. There will come a day where I'm not chasing you out. Use me. Use this place. Take from us. God's not going to run out. And I'm not going to lose patience. And I'm not going to lose hope. One day we will talk. One day people are like, but can't tell you how many teachers said, that kid comes there, they're a terror, they're a bad kid, they're this and that. And I'm like, yeah, well, they're not for me. They're not. I can't explain it, but they're not. Here, the kids that were the problems, here the kids that were the discipline issues, here the kids that are nuts or whatever else people want to call them, here they're just another son or daughter, and we love them, and they're not a problem here. Well, we want to do camp because families go on vacation together. I remember one young man at summer camp. We were praying after a message that touched his heart, and he just crying. He goes, I just wanted to be a normal kid. I wanted to go on vacation. I just wanted my dad to take me, like camping or fishing, like other kids get. And I looked at him in the eyes. I said, you do realize God is doing that for you here. Like, you're on vacation with your real Father in heaven. And he's given you, he's opened his wallet and he has given you the best of everything this week. We don't skimp. Everything we do at summer camp, from water slide parks and shaving cream slides and laser tag and all the stuff that a kid would get at an expensive camp, they get for free. It's included. No extra charges. No kid has to, I got money and you don't have money, so I get to do these things and you don't get to do these things. No. You all get to do these things. And so we have that vacation. The other reason is I don't have a Bible study here at the door. And that bothers some religious people that I don't. And I'm like, I remember Jesus having dinner with Zacchaeus one night, and before Jesus ever preached a sermon, before Jesus ever said a word, just having dinner together, Zacchaeus got up and said, I'm a changed man. I'm giving everything I have back. I'm giving half my stuff to the poor. I'm undoing all the people I've robbed from. And there was no message or Bible study for Zacchaeus either. He just was in the presence of somebody. Now, Jesus could do that in one dinner. It might take me a few months of that. But we see the same thing. We see the same thing. If our campfires at the end of camp, they might start at 11 o'clock at night, and they might go till 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, of one kid after another. I don't run them. I don't speak. Who wants to share what God did for you this week? Can you imagine in our churches if you had 4 hours of nonstop testimonies where people couldn't just stop talking about what Jesus has done? I get to see that. I may wait a whole year and I only get to see it in one night at the end of a week. I will work all year for that one night. I will work all year for those words.
It's evident that Dave has a passion for these kids. Now, we want you to hear from the few kids themselves.
I come here usually every day after school. Pretty much every day it's open unless I have work. And, family, really. It's a place you get to connect with different people, people you see, friends you make, friends you see, connections like that.
I just didn't really have a lot of connections with kids in Bellwood, and I just wanted to find somewhere where I could be and be happy, so. It's very supportive. Dave's extremely supportive, so is his wife, Mama G. Everyone's extremely welcoming, and it makes a lot of kids feel better and help. Well, we have dinner every night, which is awesome because, you know, a lot of kids wouldn't get a home-cooked meal otherwise. There's opportunities to do things here and get to know people and make new friends.
Well, it's brought me closer, I believe, to God than I've been before, because before we've gone to church, but we stopped, and it's just, I've always seen God as something I'd never been really close to or gotten involved with, but it's gotten me closer to that and trying to connect my life more to the spiritual aspect of it.
It's definitely guided me in the way that I need to be going. I wouldn't say I'm definitely where I want to be and what I need to be, but it's definitely helping me guide me on my way. It's a positive place to be with positive people.
Because it's kind of like another home, another family.
It's like a second home. It's a family that even if your family doesn't necessarily get what you're going through, when you're here, there's always someone who understands. There's someone who's willing to help. Even if you don't really want to talk, they'll just sit down and talk to you and offer you support. Even just talk to you privately and try and calm you down and even just distract you from what's going on at home. Make this a better place for everyone.
This ministry has impacted many kids over the years. As you can see by the many handprints of people who have called this place home, Dave and his wife Gila work very hard to provide good meals and a safe environment for these students. It's truly amazing to see God's favor and blessings on this team as they exercise their faith on a daily basis.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do for the town.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you much. Oh, you know, this happens, that wasn't staged. It happens every day. Somebody bringing something that we need to help keep the door going. And that just makes it great to be part of this community.
As you have watched today's program, you may have an interest in supporting the door. You may do this through food donations, camp sponsorships, or by giving financially. I know you'll be blessed. If you want to know more about the door, contact Dave Taylor at 814-935-9971. Coming up, a man destined for failure in his community became an overcomer. Pastor Henry has been a man of God serving communities for several decades.
My father, to start with, had stumbled into a tent meeting, drunk. And he came home that particular night late as usual, and he said that he had gone to the altar and gotten saved, and didn't even know what saved meant, because, well, we only went to a normal church occasionally, and that was about 3 miles away, and we walked. And anyways, he went for a couple of times, and stopped drinking, and he asked us to go, and we had no car, so somebody stopped by to pick us up and take us even to the tent meeting. The people would come and pick us up and take us to church. Well, that went on for a little while, and it just got too tough for my dad. But he did allow us to keep going, and they kept coming and picking us up for Sunday school and church and so forth. And so one Sunday morning, as an invitation was given, I went to the altar, and I was around 7 or 8 years of age. Oftentimes I would hear that no good, Schaefer family's no good, he's a drunkard, and all of that. And it was a stigma that I put up with all through my school days. He's just a no account, he's the least of the least, you know, and that kind of an atmosphere. And that got to be pretty rough at times. And I had to just keep on, and every once in a while somebody would sort of make fun of me because they knew I went up to that church in Enola. And they say, oh, shh, he's one of those. And then when I was a junior and senior in high school, I felt God prompting me to go away to Bible school when I was graduated. I would start arguing with God, well, not arguing, but talking with God. I can't go, there's no money. I can't afford it, my parents don't have it, and I can't go. And I would pray by the hour. And as the time went on later, I felt God whispering into my heart, but I will supply all your needs. It was when I was really time to graduate, you know. I will supply all your needs. I don't know about that, you know. And because I knew nothing about that. I went to school, and the second month I was there, it was October, I needed my monthly payment. I didn't have it. And if I didn't have it, I had to go home. That was the rule. And I would go to noon prayers, which was missionary prayers every Monday through Friday before lunch. And I would go to noon prayers, and that particular day I needed the money. Again, I would, now, of course, I had been praying about it, but that day I said, now Lord, you promised. Your name's at stake, not mine. Lord, you promised that you would provide all my needs. Here it is. And do you know, I went down to my room before going on to dinner, and on my desk was an envelope. The exact amount that I needed, $45. The exact amount, no name, no signature, but it was for my tuition. And God was faithful. Well, we need to take God at His word. If God said it, we need to accept it. I heard a long time ago, if God said it, I believe it, and that settles it for me. And that ought to be a philosophy of ours. Whether it's finances, whether it's a move, whether it's a ministry, whatever. If God has prompted us to do something, I know it may sound like it's against logic, but if God said it, He can perform. He can do it. God is good. He's faithful. He is just. He's righteous. And He's true to His word, and I believe it with all my heart. And that's proof of it. My life has been that. It's been a proof. I mean, little did I realize that I would be used so much in ministry. And, you know, a couple of those churches, I mean, I didn't spend a long time there, 4 or 5 years, and usually spend more, but God had a ministry for me. And part of that ministry was the building bit, you know, as I look back over. And so God was faithful. And in State College, it was 2 programs. So if God places upon your heart to make that move, do it. God's faithful. My family was the least to be desired because of my alcoholic father. He was known as the community drunk. And often it was said, can any good thing come out of the Schaefer family, especially when I had gone to Bible college for ministry and so forth. But you have to make the decision. It's not what your family has been or is. It's what you will be. I mean, what your faith and your trust in God now. And trust God to cause you to overcome that stigma, that environment that you've been raised in. And I think that through my ministry, I've more or less been able to prove God's faithfulness, not to put me in a limelight, but to prove what God can do when we say, okay, God, here I am. Use me, help me, change me, make me different, make me a light. And I often have prayed, Lord, make me a light in a dark community. And in the midst of all of this background, let me shine for you. And I think to a certain extent that has been acquired because God has blessed my ministry. And I constantly have said, Lord, help me not to take credit because it's not in me. I am who I am, what I am because of who you are and what you've done. And so you've been faithful. You are just, you are righteous, you're true to your word, and just believe God, and He'll change you. He'll make you different. And so I am a different person. Give yourself to God. Allow Him to speak in you and through you. He will help you. He will change you. He will make you what even your community thought was not possible, to His glory.
Each of us have tough questions from time to time. We are going to take a segment from each show to respond to some of your questions from a spiritual perspective.
In every ministry, you come up with the kid that's the problem, that you wish didn't show up every week at church because they just make your job tougher. They disrupt things. They don't listen. Or they're the invisible kid who just sits in the back and they never say anything and they don't play the games and they don't get involved. And one thing that we've learned in our culture is that the invisible kid will one day become the very visible kid. He'll be the one who shoots up a school. He'll be the one who commits suicide or overdoses. He'll be the one who winds up a teenage father. He'll be the one who makes a headline for all the wrong reasons. They're not the problem kid. They're the reason we have ministry at all. And instead of viewing them as a problem to be rid of, I got a house full. And our churches need to be full of such people again. Our youth ministries need to be full of such people again. Because Jesus' personal space around him was filled with such people.
Thanks again for watching Joy in the City, True Stories. Make sure to watch Monday and Wednesday at 7 a.m. for inspirational messages from Pleasant Valley Assembly of God. Then join us again next Friday for our next journey with another organization having an impact in our city. Until then, have a very blessed day, and remember, God is moving in our city.
God is